Second goal was a penalty. What did you make of the penalty shout, Marley? Because it was an interesting one. Harry Kane seemed to step over the ball, almost lose control of it, but Matty Cash crashed into him and gave away the penalty. Was it a fair call? Was it just clever from Harry Kane to kind of step over the ball and almost draw the foul a little bit?
I like how you nearly called him Matty Crash there, because it would have gone into his what, like, summed up his tackle quite well. But no, I watched it last night and I thought it was not a penalty. I thought, look, Kane is very clever. He knows when contact's coming. He knows that, you know, the defender's gone to ground and therefore he can't move. He can't, you know, move his legs out the way, for example, because his body's already on the floor. So he's likely not looking at the ball. He's probably expecting it to come in, and he's in his position. So Kane thinks, okay, well, I'm gonna put my leg across there so the contact comes when he slides, because he can't stop himself. It's not so much about the contact for me. It's the fact that Kane leaves the ball. Kane's got control of that ball. He's got the chance to put it in, and he actively ignores the ball to initiate the contact. And I don't think that should be punished under the laws of the game. And then you look at the guy in the black in the middle, and it's Mike Dean, and you just know that he's definitely going to give the penalty for that, because he's doesn't need any excuse, any second invitation to give a penalty. But no, I think Kane's getting like that, and it's. People notice it, you know. People are seeing it on, you know, with his backing into players and trying to win free kicks, and he's close to injuring players when he backs into them when they're in midair. And I think this is just another one of his little tricks, because for me, you should never get punished if the attacker actively doesn't kick the ball. Like he chooses not to put that cross in or trap the ball before it goes out of play. It's sliding, it's within his reach, but instead he goes, no, I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to put my right foot out, and Cash is going to slide into it because he's already started sliding, and he takes the penalty and the referee buys it. So I don't think it's a penalty.
Niall's shaking his head here. I can kind of see both points here, because one of my pet hates in football is when players play for the foul or play for the penalty instead of going for goal when they could maintain possession or they could have a pop-up. So I can kind of see where you're coming from, Marley, but I want to hear Niall's side of this as well.
I'm baffled how Marley doesn't think that's a penalty. He slides in and he fouls him.
It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
He makes contact with him inside the box and fouls him. How can it not be a penalty?
Because he's lost control of the ball.
I don't think that makes a difference. If you went and punched someone in the face and you don't have control of the ball, it's a foul. So why does that make any difference? You've slid in and you've made contact with the player in the box. It's a penalty. Now, I understand what you're saying about Kane losing control of the ball. And then I guess the question mark would be, if he's tried to dupe the referee, does he deserve a yellow card for simulation?
But it's not simulation, is it?
It's not a dive because there's contact. So, I mean, I can see where you're both coming from, the kind of both sides of the story thing. But for me, that's a penalty. I've got it in front of me now. I keep watching it over and over again. And I understand Kane steps over the ball, but Cash slides inside the penalty area when he doesn't need to slide in. Kane's not really going anywhere. He's going towards the dead ball line. He's never really going to get a shot off from that angle. And I just think that he gives Mike Dean a decision to make. And, you know, kind of building off the back of Marley's point about you see the man in black and you see that it's Mike Dean. If there's one referee you don't want to give a decision to make, it's him. So why are you sliding in the penalty area? You know, your side's already a goal behind. I can understand that he's a defender and he's probably trying to get a block in to stop the cross into the penalty area. But the pitches now, they're obviously slippery because they're watered before the game by the sprinklers and stuff like that. But he's gone sliding in and he's fouled him in the penalty area. I think it's what people would call nowadays, I hate this term, by the way, cute. I hate that. I don't understand. I don't understand where that term's even come from. But to be honest, I do understand what Marley's saying about Harry Kane and, you know, kind of stepping up his game in terms of the dark arts. And I don't know whether that's a coincidence that we seem to have noticed it more since Jose Mourinho's come into Tottenham. I think there was a moment in the Amazon documentary, I can't quite remember directly the quote, but he said, you know, you need to be more.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a bit of an element of that with Harry Kane. What I will say is Mohamed Salah does similar things. I think Mohamed Salah is probably more of a culprit for throwing himself to the ground easily than Harry Kane is. But if this was Mohamed Salah, there'd be uproar.
I think there's a difference,
absolute
actually.
uproar.
I think Mohamed Salah, I think he blatantly cheats. He dives. And I don't think this is a dive. I think that this, I don't like what's happened in this scenario, and I think Harry Kane has played for the foul. That's completely what's happened. But at the same time, he has taken contact, and it is within the laws of the game. Whereas I think and I'm not saying Harry Kane is immune to doing this, but I think on a weekly basis we see Mo Salah and other players as well, it's not him alone, throwing themselves to the ground in order to con the referee.